There it is. What up, y'all? It's your girl Daily of PhilaDehlia.com. Coming to you with another Eagles Landing podcast where you can get your Eagles and NFL news fix from fans across the globe every hump day. Live on YouTube every Wednesday night. Available on iTunes and Stitcher. So make sure you rate, subscribe, tell us what you think if you subscribe to us on any of these things. And next up, we got a familiar face, our newest member. We have Gail Saunders, a.k.a. Eagles Sessions, is back for more. How you holding up, homie?
I'm addicted. I'm back for week 2. I can't get enough.
Last week we were high on life. This week not so much. So
hating life right now. Hating.
Already, doing the whole roller coaster thing, but it's all good. And then, of course, the one and only E-Rock. He's here after having a very busy week. All over NFL Network. And
oh, come on now. Come on now. Well, I'm definitely glad to be back, and I certainly was not going to miss this podcast, especially, after what transpired on Sunday. So I'm happy to be back joining you guys.
All right. Well, before we dig into it, reopen those wounds. I do want to talk about what you're doing. You're doing more videos a week now, right?
Yeah, I'm doing a few more videos this week. A couple of them ended up on NFL Network. Not trying to brag, not trying to boast, but also doing some work with my man Sean Brace, formerly of 97.5 The Fanatic. Me and Sean go way back to my time with the Eagles Television Network. And he started a site called PhillyInfluencer.com. PhillyInfluencer.com. It's a blog surrounding all four. Yeah, it's a blog surrounding all 4 Philadelphia sports. So I'm doing some pre-game videos that are uploaded before kickoff, and then some post-game fan reactions as well, which was very entertaining from last Sunday.
No, me as the video maker, I saw you are recording, editing, and uploading videos all on the same day, on game day before kickoff. Is that correct?
Well, I was. Gail was recording because he was with me at the tailgate. So Gail was nice enough to help me record all those
Double
videos.
Duty this week here, podcast and filming.
But what's nice is they're uploaded. You get a flavor for the tailgate, for the fans' vibe before kickoff even happens. So that's what makes it awesome.
That's awesome. I love it. So I'm excited. Thought I'd, let you talk about what's going on and Mr. Behind the Scenes Gale. A little teamwork in action. All right.
Yeah, man.
Love it. So, okay. Let's just get into it, guys.
Everyone's butt hurt, right?
Yeah. I didn't even realize that it would hurt this bad, right? I'm a little surprised at how kind of thrown off I am right now. I don't even know what to do with myself, because you know me, I'm the ultimate optimist, and realistically looking at things, things haven't changed for us within the division. We're where we were at last week, where we have to win one and the Giants have to lose one, and then we're back at first place. That's cool, but it still feels like the world is crashing down, and I don't know why. So, you guys, what's going on?
Well, that's because it not for nothing, but it kind of is, because you take a look at the overtime victory against the Dallas Cowboys and how high we're riding after that divisional opponent victory in their house. So it's not so much losing a game, it's how we lost the game and who we lost the game to. You go and you beat the Dallas Cowboys, and then Sunday home at Lincoln Financial Field, the first opportunity to go over 500 for the year, and you just lay a dud against a really bad Miami Dolphins team, and then you're looking forward at another team from Florida and Tampa Bay coming next week. They're just equally as bad.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like you're in a relationship and you're going steady and it's going in the right place. And you're like, this is gonna be a relationship that I can get down with, and they just break your heart. Last week was a heartbreaker. And the look on the fans' faces coming out of the stadium was just gut-wrenching. People were super hurt, and the worst was that dude that in the video, all the way from Ireland, to see that mess. I get mad just going all the way up New Jersey Turnpike to go home. This guy has to go all the way back to Ireland after seeing that crap. Terrible.
That's the worst. And you bring up the whole relationship thing, and I agree. It feels like, but it's like they teased us, right? It's like they made us think we were gonna go steady. They're coming out that offense all hot and sexy. I was like, yeah, I'm about to sit back, relax, and watch the Eagles dominate for once. Like I was ready. Like I was so excited. And then they just nope, not gonna happen. They just pulled back real quick and. Oh God, why they gotta do that to us, man?
The crowd was hyped in the stadium. I was sitting next to this old guy. He was probably like in his 80s, and he was super hyped. And after, we started going downhill, it looked like he was about to have a heart attack. And I was like, am I gonna have to perform CPR on someone? Crazy.
Oh man. Well, I mean, I'm trying to think about why I'm struggling so much with this loss, right? Because we have wins, losses, and why does this one just kind of like affect me worse? And I think it's just because of the injuries. I think one, because of the tease, we saw that glimpse of what the Eagles could be, and then they took it away real fast. And then Sturgis had to miss one of those field goals, and ever since that moment, the team just never, the whole momentum just shifted. They never were able to recover and get back to having a controlling offense and a defense that was, getting sacks and safeties and all that good stuff. And then just to go out with Bradford, getting hit and leaving the field, and then Jordan Matthews, lying there, and Ryan Matthews going out with a concussion. It was just like, man, our offense that was already kind of like a little unstable. We just took out all the key pieces, and we don't know what's going to happen. So that's really scary for me.
There's a lot of unknowns right now. There are a lot of unknowns.
But plus, you got to think about it. I mean, did we lose to the did the Miami Dolphins beat us, or did we beat ourselves? And then that's the most frustrating part. Teams, to be successful in the NFL, you gotta, and this is the map to the road to the playoffs. You gotta beat the teams you're supposed to beat. You gotta go 500 against the teams that are kind of on your level, and then you gotta steal some, one or two games away from teams that you don't think you should beat. And the Miami thing just rewinds you to step one, where it's like you have to beat the teams that you should beat. And losing to the Redskins, losing to the Miami Dolphins, that's just flat out unacceptable. And that's what's going to kill. It's a good thing that this division is the dumpster fire that it is. Otherwise, if we were in the NFC South, or if we were in the NFC West, NFC North even, we right now would be having a completely different podcast where there would be absolutely no hope, and we'd already be talking about next year.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me, I feel like we are the basic bitches of the NFL right now. It's sad. It's really sad. I mean, you want to look at. I mean, coming from, I'm rewinding all the way back to preseason when we saw in Green Bay and we had these hopes building in our heads, and just come to terms with our basicness hurts right here. Because I mean, you thought we were gonna turn the corner. Now we have a lot of guys banged up. Things are happening that we thought were gonna happen. Bradford is hurt. We're rocking with Sanchito. Matthews is hurt. Jordan. I mean, it's just everything is just all over the place. It's like someone came into your living room and just kicked your living room furniture all over the place. Everything is unorganized. You don't feel at home.
You are out of order. Yep. I mean, it's just all crazy. Let me get some shout-outs in. I forgot to shout out the people on the live chat before we get into some Sanchito talk. You already know. So, Ron Batura, you are the #1 commenter. Woo. And Ryan Cassidy, further in. Nice to see you again. Antonio. Dave L says this is a huge letdown. And Antonio Dickerson says Bradford is gentle. What I will say about Bradford, though, is he made it, farther along than most people had thought he would. And did we get confirmation on how long he's going to be out? Last I read was, 2 weeks? But then I heard someone say, 4 to 6 weeks. Do we know, any of you guys?
What came out today during Chip Kelly's press conference was that he had not spoken with the trainers yet. They don't have a timetable in place. He's not practicing because he did not pass concussion protocol. There was a report tweeted out, I think by Ed Werder, that it was a separated shoulder on the non-throwing arm. Realistically, I'm more worried about the concussion because Bradford said after the game that he didn't remember the entire first half. I mean, it's one thing to not remember the play that you got hit, or you Kevin Cobbett, and you don't remember the first series that he was knocked out in. Dude said he didn't remember the first half. That is a concussion that's gonna linger. He said he's practicing he's anticipating that Bradford might be available. I just don't see how he would be available for this one.
I mean, the biggest concern is if he remembers how he liked his sleeves prior to the concussion. That's the biggest concern. How do I like my sleeves? Yeah, that would be great if he tightened that up.
The whole offense needs a little tightening up, not just his sleeves.
I hear you.
Speaking of the offense and quarterbacks, we got our first glimpse of Mark Sanchez, our little Sancho here, and
E-Rock called for it 2 weeks ago. Thanks, buddy.
Wait. Before you go ragging on me on the whole Sanchito thing.
Washing the beast.
I went 2 weeks ago on the podcast and said that Bradford should remain the starter for the rest of the season. But, coming in cold in that game, made a couple bad decisions. I really think that this offense is going to move a little better with Mark Sanchez. It's going to move a little quicker. Because if you did notice, the tempo of the offense did pick up. He knows his offense better. He's a little bit more mobile. Now, Mark is nothing more than average. So he may not win you some games, but hopefully he doesn't lose you some games moving forward. He's nothing great. Then again, Bradford hasn't been either. And we're going into next week, whether it be Bradford or Sanchez, still with what, in my opinion, is an average quarterback.
Basic.
Well,
I mean, the thing I like about, if I'm trying to be positive here, the thing I like about Sanchez, he knows the players he's playing with. He's comfortable rocking with Ertz and Matthews. They were all twos a year ago. They're all comfortable with each other. I mean, you look at when Ertz had his biggest production, it was with Sanchez when he had a 15-catch, 100-plus yard game. I believe that was against Washington or Seattle. But, he's comfortable with those guys. So, and like you said, the offense moves a little bit quicker. And maybe he's just going to take one of those zone reads to the house.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to run for it, all right. Oh, boy. I can't wait to see that.
4.840.
So we have J Snipes 80 says Sanchez usually plays good against bad teams, so I think he will beat Tampa and Detroit, but not by much. And I kind of rag on Sanchez here and there, but when I think about it, he can win.
Sanchito, by the way.
We saw it last season. Right away, I think of that Panthers game that he won for us last season. I don't remember. Was that his first start with us? And he controlled that game, and we got the victory, and it was a dominant win. And it can happen, but also that just kind of unknown factor with him. There's that surprise screw-up just hiding around the corner. You don't know when it's coming out. And that's what drives me crazy, is not knowing when that's going to happen and what it's going to be. So, I think, like Snipe said, I think we can still win games with him.
I feel like watching Sanchez and run the offense, I feel like you're sitting on the front of the handlebars and somebody's driving drunk and you have no helmet on. I feel it's an accident waiting to happen, but I'm going for the ride, so you know.
Yeah, and Sanchez does have a history of making a poor decision that ends up costing us the game, i.e., what happened at the end of the Miami Dolphins game. But while the focus might be on Sanchez for throwing that pick, or the focus might be on the receiver for not catching the ball, well, really at that point in the game, correct me if I'm wrong, but why are we even throwing it at that point? That's not on Sanchito, that's not on Miles-O, that's on Chippo. You know?
Well, I mean, we do have to blame Miles a little bit. I mean,
Absolutely. I'm
he
not
was
saying
not
we
even
don't.
looking for the ball. It's like, dude, I'm walking through the park. No, you're a receiver. You're in the end zone. You could catch that ball. But like you said, I do agree though. I think they could have ran the ball a little bit, and then it could have been a third down situation where they, a pass run option. But
Was not meant to be.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is Sanchez. 82 touchdowns to 81 interceptions. I mean, that's Sanchez,
That's the definition of average right there.
Yeah,
basically.
and I mean, yeah, I'll give that to you. That's definitely the play call. We should have just played it safe because we had the guaranteed points on the board. Well, maybe they were concerned about Sturgis being a little shaky and not making his kicks. Maybe that's another option, but I mean, we're talking about Miles Austin and Riley Cooper. I enjoyed your little meme today, Era. Those dudes, man, they're driving me
They're
I
killing
crazy.
was
us.
I was sitting at work. I was like dying. I saw
I
that.
was just like, were Austin's hands just like strapped to his sides, like he couldn't lift them up, or what? What is
Like,
going
I
on
mean,
with these dudes?
he had that route in the end zone where he didn't look, and then he had like the route on the sideline where he that was basically lack of effort and it was a bad drop. And there's another angle where you can see Miles Austin going missing the ball. You can see Nelson Aguilar up the field like throw his hands up like WTF. But then you're a veteran receiver. You bring a guy like Miles Austin as a veteran. You got to teach the young and let them lead the way, right? But Miles Austin can't get 2 feet and drag it. I mean, that's a veteran move right there. I mean, you got to know your situation, where you are on the field. And as a former receiver myself, you got to get your feet in. That's basic 101 stuff right there. So.
But I mean, we can argue on the all day about Miles Austin and what he should be to this team. We can argue all day about Riley Cooper and what he should be to this team. The fact of the matter is that we're arguing about Riley Cooper and Miles Austin, and these are our two like 1 and 2 receivers. Miles Austin, we should have known this was garbage to begin with. Miles Austin hasn't had a good season since he was with the Dallas Cowboys. Had 2 injury-plagued seasons, shipped off to the Browns, couldn't do anything there, and now he's with us, and we're looking at him like he should be able to. There's a reason why the Dallas Cowboys let him go. There's a reason why the Cleveland Browns let him go. And there's a reason why he's on this friggin' team. And the same thing with Riley Cooper. Riley Cooper has never been better than a third option, maybe at best, wide receiver. If this entire wide receiver core was hey, listen, Arizona, hey, listen, Seattle, hey, Miami, do you want any of these guys? They might take Jordan Matthews. That's it. Otherwise, they're guys on the street on any other team.
I mean, this is a wide receiver core I wouldn't even rock with in a season in Madden. Like, I would have questions. I'd be like, no, I'm not. I'm gonna trade all these guys when the season starts because I want to win. I mean, this is real life, and we're living real life here as Eagle fans, looking at our receivers, and they're almost as bad as back in the Torrey Smalls and Todd Bankston days. I mean, maybe those guys are better. Trash or Thrash are better than the guys that we have now, which is sad.
Well, and when seeing players like Jordan Matthews go down like they did in that fourth quarter, like it just makes it even scarier that, well, now we have to rely on these guys more. And that's not a good thing.
Well,
And it's
I,
just
th- I think we got to give Nelson some time. I think he's the guy that's got to open things up for this offense. And I think they're
yeah.
given his injury, the high ankle sprain, they're bringing him along slowly. And I think that was the reason for his snap count. because Miles Austin had, I believe, 50% of the snaps. But I think it should change this game.
No, I agree. I'm waiting for Aguilar, man, to just be consistent, and be one of our top playmakers there at wide receiver. But the waiting game sucks. And now I gotta mention Caleb. Sturgis, his little moment of missing that field. How many yards was that kick that he missed? Do you remember?
That was on some high school shit right there, man. This is the 30s.
And do you think that moment kind of shifted the momentum, like just like something like that, or it just seems like they all just kind of disappeared, like after that moment.
It can shift the momentum. It shouldn't. It shouldn't shift the momentum, especially with just a kicker missing a field goal, which happens in the NFL. The problem with the Eagles when it comes to the drops and it comes to some of the problems, including the kicker and some of the momentum swings, and Kelsey even mentioned it along the offensive line. A lot of it's between the ears. So you see that kick and he misses the kick, and you're like, oh God, here we go again. And all of a sudden now, based off of the previous history that this team has had in the first 8 or so games that they played, all of a sudden now they have a concept of, oh my God, here we go again. And you can see that from pretty much the second quarter on to the fourth quarter. It's the same thing with the drops. These receivers catch balls since they were in Pee-wee. They were drafted for a reason. They did it in college. They had success in the pros. But now it's because there's so many drops, it's between the ears. Because there's so many missed kicks, it's between the ears. John Dorenbos even said it. He was trying to adjust his snaps and adjusted a little bit too much. Kelsey said it about his snaps when he snapped it over, or he snapped it. It was over Bradford's head, right?
Right.
He was trying to get the ball up a little bit more so that Bradford didn't have to bend down for the ball and over-adjust it. So now there's this like almost panic mode sort of over-adjusting of everything that everybody's experiencing, and it's a giant meltdown that's happening right before our eyes.
And weren't they working out some snappers this week?
Yeah, they were.
Listen, man, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about this bromance.
I don't want to talk about it.
Dorenbos here. We got a bromance.
John Dorenbos is my boy, and I don't want to think about the Magic Man leaving this team. No, seriously, I mean, my first video, like viral video, was about John Dorenbos. So him and I have a very special relationship, and I am not happy whatsoever that they're working out snappers. And isn't it funny too that out of all these positions that we should be working out, wide receiver, offensive line, defensive, defensive, whatever, that we're working out a long snapper. That's going to be the answer.
And Dorenbos was a Pro Bowler last year, too.
Well, being a long snapper, Pro Bowler. Not for nothing. You know a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy that's going to get you in the Pro Bowl. You know what I mean? A free trip to Hawaii.
I don't remember this Dorenbos video you did. What was it?
You never saw the John Dorenbos for MVP video? Oh, it was early. Oh, I gotta send you the link. That was the first one that like went viral. It was the year Vic was like being considered with Brady for MVP. That's how far back it goes.
Wow.
But it was just shot in a Link parking lot, similar to what I do now, and then it got all over Preston and Steve in Philadelphia. It was all over the place.
Oh.
And me and John did some collabos on Eagles Television Network as a result of it, so it was kind of cool.
I think I saw some of those.
Yeah.
Okay, I see you.
So it'll be in the description box, will it?
Like, what gets me is, he's been our Pro Bowl guy, and, like, it doesn't seem that hard, and how is it we're seeing these consistent, like, snap issues, and it's affecting Bradford, it's affecting Sturgis, it's affecting our plays, and I don't know.
The special teams, opposing special teams is lining up on a certain, and I can't tell you, because I broke down the film. I didn't break down the film. I'm hearing it directly from the press conferences and the coordinators themselves. But they were lining up like two guys right over Dorenbos and like right before the snap because they know if they line up a certain way and hit him a certain way right as the ball snapped, it's going to come out wompy. So they were doing, they picked up on that, and that's all the quality control people on the other side of the field. The Miami Dolphins quality controls for special teams picking up on that and then implementing it. So that's why it's happening. Same thing with Kelsey too. Kelsey, if you line up, if the Eagles line up in shotgun and you line up Kelsey like some guy right in front of him, sometimes his snaps come out a little off center or wompy or something like that. Which all it needs is a split second of the quarterback taking his eyes off the field, off the receivers, and looking down to grab the ball, and already the defense has an advantage.
I mean, Kelsey is such a fan favorite with a lot of fans, and I hate to see a guy like him go through these little mental issues. I mean, you think about so many drives he's killed a lot of drives. I think about close to 10 penalties. 9 holds, 1 false start. I mean, I know he's beating himself up, but you just got to get back to form, man. I mean, it's really tough to see him go through that.
When talking about the flags and penalties and reps, can we talk about that illegal shift call? Like, what was going on there? I did not see any shifting whatsoever. Like, how?
Riley Cooper.
It was Coop?
Yep.
Damn. Like, I was just like, wait a minute. Like, what?
But he can block, though.
Illegal shift, there's a lot that falls under the umbrella of illegal shift. It can be, wide receiver is not set in the case of a Cooper penalty. It can be that the wide receiver or the back or somebody in motion didn't come completely set before another guy went into motion. It could be like, your typical, and we'll always get one of these per game, a Zach Ertz penalty where he's lined up, wrong. So the illegal shift, that's an umbrella for a lot of different things.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're kind of focusing on, like, all the bad here. But, I mean, it wasn't all bad. There was that nice little moment when the Eagles were on fire, and both the offense and defense were just playing out of their minds.
I mean, Brent Selleck in the first quarter, 3 catches, 120-something yards. Yeah. In the first quarter, that's...
How do the Eagles, I mean, they can do it, they're capable of it, but how do they sustain that type of play and momentum? Like, it just fell off. It's like they switched the on and off button, and then, it was on, then they shut it off and never turned it back on. Like, how do we fix that?
Oh, wow, that is a loaded question. How do you fix it? I mean,
Does Chip Kelly have a sports therapist on staff?
He needs one if he doesn't.
Because it's like we've been talking about. It's a lot of it's mental. I mean, it's really. Yeah. I really think some players do have to step up as leaders. I mean, when you think about this offensive unit, especially with Peters out, think about who's the guy that's going to step up in the locker room. Like, in your heads, who do you think is the leader of this offensive unit? That is the question.
And that is a pregnant pause, and the pause and the silence speaks volumes.
See?
About the answer.
There is, like, who's going to smack somebody in the mouth on the sidelines? You look at a Patriots team, Brady could choke a bitch, and it'd be okay. It'd be all right. Grab a guy by his his face mask and say, yo, what are you doing? Who on the Eagles offensive unit is going to do that? Someone's got to take charge, really. Mm-hmm. I don't see anyone. And plus, there's so many moving parts, new guys coming into the team. It's not like, a DeMarco Murray who's been here a long time is going to come up and grab you. He might, like, look at you real tough like he did with Sam Bradford at the beginning of the season. But I think sometimes it takes a while for guys to get comfortable to be that guy. So.
I think I agree. Like, I think you bring up a good point, and something that I've always kind of thought was that we definitely lacked that clear leader, that, like, Brian Dawkins, just, like, fierce, like, gets the team all riled up. Like, I feel there's players that try and do that. They're just not as effective. Like, it's this kind of natural-born presence that you have.
Natural born leader.
And the player needs to have it. And the problem is our players don't. And talking about the therapist, another thing is, I don't know who I was talking with. Actually, a Seahawks fan. The Seahawks have a hypnotist, like a team hypnotist, where they meditate and they get hypnotized and they do this type of like mental therapy. And I'm like, dude, if that's what it takes for all these mental issues to go out the door, because it really is just so many mental errors and issues that we can't even explain, you know? So, you know any hypnotists, E-Rock?
No, I don't know any hypnotists. I know a couple pot dealers in Philly that I can hook them up with, but I don't think the
You don't
NFL
want
is
them to
going
end up like Alden Smith. So.
Yeah, no, you don't want to end up like that. So I don't know how to mellow these guys out or
Tell
anything
them they
like
got
that.
glaucoma. They got glaucoma.
Yeah, I mean the whole, how do you fix it? I said this in the beginning of the season, and I'm kind of sticking by it. What I saw earlier on was just fundamentally flawed football concepts. So what's our identity? Like, what's our team identity? Well, erase this year. What's our team identity supposed to be? We're supposed to be that team that when you see us on the schedule, you're supposed to think, oh my God, I got to score at least 30 points, and I got to have my defense well rested and well prepared so they don't get winded, and I got to score at least 30. Chip Kelly sacrifices quality of offensive plays for quantity of offensive plays. That's his MO. It's snap, snap, fast, fast, coming at you, coming at you, coming at you, coming at you, coming at you. You've noticed that the S8 card has gone from, and I'm trying to get it in frame, like something like this, to the size of a cocktail napkin. All his plays are now so basic and so small that the defense, by the end of the first quarter, is starting to get a little flavor. They already know what's coming. And we saw it in the Dallas game. We saw it in Washington game. We saw it certainly in the Miami game, where the defense, as the game progressed, they already know what's coming. They could bark out the plays if they wanted to. So we're sacrificing speed, which we're not going too fast, and Mark Sanchez goes faster, for the quality of plays. We can't get anything downfield. We don't have the receivers to get open. The offensive line is not allowing enough time. I mean, fix it. Boy, is this a mess. This is a mess.
So basically you're saying that we have the Tecmo Bowl offense.
Pretty much.
I mean, it's I think, it's just, he's got to do a better job. I mean, Chip's got to take responsibility and fix it. I mean, my biggest concern really was 3 years ago. I'm like, yes, this up-tempo offense is new to the league. It's going to catch them all by storm. But what happens in year 3? This is something that's always been going off my head. By year 3, the cat is out of the bag. Players who have left the team have now dispersed and have sprinkled themselves across the NFL. Little nuances are given away. Butthurt players that have played with us are now like, oh, I'm gonna stick it to Chip Kelly. So I'm sure that certain things are out there. So I think the league, they've passed around secrets, and it's just not working the way it used to work. You're gonna have to adapt, and I think that's the biggest key for Chip Kelly, is learning how to adapt and add new wrinkles to what he's already brought to the table. And is he going to be stubborn about it, or is the ego going to be too big for him to just step back and say, you know what, I have to change something?
Mm-hmm.
You know who I really feel bad for right now? Delia. Because she tried so hard to segue into, but it wasn't all bad. There were some positives, and me and Gail just like pooped all over that. So Delia, please tell us, what do you see that are the positives?
Well, I mean, we've been seeing improvement with the offense, and that starting drive showed us what they really can be. Like, we haven't seen that,
Amen.
complete dominance like that in any of the other games. So I was like, all right. And Sam Bradford scrambling, doing his thing, finding the open, who was it,
Right.
Selleck in the end zone. Like, I needed to see those things, and that was really cool. But now with him being taken out, it puts my optimism on pause a little bit. But it's crazy. I don't even know how to feel right now. Like, I want it all to be okay, and realistically, we're going to face the Bucks, which is a beatable team. It's just we're in this unknown place right now, and anything can happen. And what this loss did was tell us really anything can happen, good or bad. Like, we can't count on the positive or what should happen to happen, you know? So, but it can, you know? It's just, I just have to be surprised, you know? I'm not going to even try and say this is what's going to happen. Like, I'm not going to even try and analyze these Eagles, because you can't. They're just this unpredictable team that doesn't care what they're capable of. They'll just be like, well, today we're going to win, and another day we're just not going to win, you know? And it's just...
I mean, you really can't. I mean, think about Bucks beating the Eagles in our house. Go back to some moments where it ripped your heart out in the playoffs. You cannot lose to the Bucks at home.
It's not.
You just
right?
can't.
Tell me it's not going to happen.
So wait, before we drag her down any further, being as she's the eternal optimist or whatever, I'm going to ask you straight up 3 questions, okay? And you have to answer honestly.
Okay.
Number 1, are you on the chip ship? Are you off the chip ship? Or are you undecided? And do not take the cheap route and say undecided.
I'm on chip ship.
You're on the chip ship.
I'm giving him the entire season, and so what keeps me on the chip ship is
Tell me more.
Is we have seen is our secondary. I will always be thankful for the fact that our secondary doesn't suck, because it sucked for too long, and we have a safety, guys. When was the last time we had a safety? You know, so what keeps me on the chip train is the fact that he did improve certain pieces of our team. And we can't expect him to improve everything all at once. And I see what he's trying to do. So one of our major weaknesses, boom, he fixed our secondary. And then what did he do? He drafted a bunch of wide receivers, because what's our next weakness? Our wide receivers. But unfortunately, the guys he drafted have been, you know, having these issues, but we're seeing the potential when they work through those issues that, wow, we're going to have a good team. So I trust Chip and the decisions he's making and the plan and the vision that he has. It's just really up to the players executing that plan. And
oh, God, there's that word again. Oh, no.
That should be the drinking game word.
Execute. To work through it, right? Because it's not going to be perfect. Like, everyone wants, well, you want to have the perfect secondary defense, you know, O-line and quarterback and everything all at once, and that's not how it works. The fact that we see some improvement is a start for me.
Question number 2, Delia on the hot seat. Do the Eagles?
Wait, Gail, you're not going to answer any of these questions?
Ooh, that's a lot.
I already know Gail's answer.
Just say on or off, though. I want to know. Just say on or off.
After last week, I'm riding hard. I'm a ride or die, but I'm kind of off right now. He's in the doghouse right now. He's in the doghouse.
Okay, E-Rock, on or off?
Off. I'm way off. I'm way off. I'm way off. Not only did I jump off the chip ship, I took one of those like life preserver boats and like by myself roped that thing down, climbed in it, and started rowing away, watching the Titanic sink. Delia, question number 2. You're on the hot seat.
Okay.
Do the Eagles make the playoffs or not?
Oh, now this is a tough one.
Woo! Because you realize the only way they're making the playoffs is if they win the division. So with that in your mind, do they make the playoffs or do they not?
They can win the division.
That's not the answer. It's
Can or will.
I see them beating the Bucks.
Oh,
I can see them beating the Bucks.
yeah.
I think they can, but this is like one of those. It's too close. Like it's so close to call that I am undecided. But since I'm undecided, I'm gonna lean to the way that I normally lean, which is to the right and
Lean
on
back.
the top side. But it's very like
Well, that answer was like all over the place. That's a yes or no question, really.
Hey, no, it's not. It's a tough. This Eagles team, who knows what they're gonna do, man? We've seen them come back from stuff from this, and we've seen them crumble from stuff like this, and they're showing us patterns of they're just being the unpredictable Eagles. And
I'm gonna be optimistic and say yes, they do make the playoffs.
yes, the playoffs. Okay.
Still, I got questions. I got mad questions.
All right, so last one from me, Delia on the hot seat, because so far 2 questions we've gotten 1.5 answers. 1.5.
No, I get a full answer.
Do the Eagles on Sunday at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat those Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Yes. I already answered this question.
Okay.
I think, we've been seeing this kind of back and forth process from them where it's like they're high off of that Cowboys win, and then they kind of fall off, and then they come back again. So I think it's part of the roller coaster, man. They're going to struggle, and then they're going to be like, oh, man, we got to get together. Then they're going to fix it, and then they're going to be like, whew, glad we did that. And then they're going to, struggle a little bit more. But I out of all the teams left in their schedule, this has to be a win. So there's no other option. Just like they had to beat the Cowboys.
It's going to be a W this week. It's got
Just
to be.
like they had to beat the Cowboys, there's no other option.
Fair enough.
Gail,
Fair enough.
we get the
It's
W.
going to be a W this week.
Yeah.
I can't stand watching another L live. That was my first loss that I've ever seen the Eagles sustain live, and that was the worst. So they're going to win this week.
E-Rock, are you saying they win or lose?
They're going to win, and this is going to be the type of win where, just like the Dallas win, they crush our hopes and dreams. They take our heart, and they just kind of, and then all of a sudden they win in overtime against Dallas, and then hey, here they go. It's going to start clicking, and then they lose against Miami, and then you're like, oh my God, this team, what am I going to do? They're horrible, and then they're going to come out against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, whoop up all over them. They're going to throw a 30-burger at least, maybe even a 40-burger on this team. Get us all excited again, and then who do we have after that? Detroit. They're going to beat Detroit, and then we got to walk into that buzzsaw in New England, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick on the 2015 FU tour that they're on, and we're going to get smoked by New England.
But that Detroit game is on Thanksgiving, and after what they've done to us the last couple of weeks, if they mess up our Thanksgiving,
that would be bad.
I'm going down to the link. I'm going to throw my turkey in the driveway, and because I will be like 20 minutes down the road.
So, Era, are we making the playoffs?
Are we making the playoffs?
Oh.
We are.
Are we making the playoffs?
Yes or no question, guy.
No.
Oh.
No. And here's why. And I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade. Realistically, where we stand right now, we're at 4-5.
Okay.
If let's say it came down to winning the division at a measly 9-7, all right, because that's kind of we've all said since like week 3 or 4 or even 5 that 9-7 should win this division. Mm-hmm. Realistically, we cannot lose 2 more games, and those 2 games that we can lose have to be out of conference. Who are we playing out of conference? We're playing the Patriots. That's an automatic, Al. I'm not even chalking that one up as a maybe. And then you can lose to, let's say, a AFC team like the Bills. But if it comes down to going up to MetLife Stadium to play the Giants last game of the year, and let's say we tie them, well, now we're dealing with all sorts of tiebreakers. Now we're dealing with, all right, we won one, they won one, or we swept them but have the same, if that's a heads-up situation, okay, great. If we lose that game and we have the same record, now we're talking about divisional wins. Now we're talking about conference wins. And we have kind of dug ourselves a little bit of a hole in that department. So when it comes down to it, looking at this Eagles team, knowing they can only lose 2 more games, knowing that if they're going to lose 2 more games, it better be out of conference, the stars need to kind of align. And I just don't know if this team is talented enough, good enough, or capable of surpassing the New York Giants, as much as that pains me to say, who put up a great effort against those New England Patriots. I don't know if we're good enough to hang.
Who is this guy?
Hey, man, we don't know. Either Eagles team could show up. I mean, and when talking about the Giants, we owned them, first time around. Can they do it again? Yes, they could. But can they do the complete opposite of that? Yes, they could.
And you're absolutely right. I wouldn't put it past this Philadelphia Eagles team to beat almost any team in the NFL. If they bring their A game and they play the way they're capable of playing, they can beat almost anybody. Here's the flip side. Losing to the Miami Dolphins, they just proved to you, just as they lost to the Minnesota Vikings the year prior, that they are more than capable of losing to anybody. Mm-hmm. And that's the part that's scary. That's the part that you can't lose to anybody and expect to make the playoffs.
Now, big question here on that one. Now, do you guys think if Sam Bradford had not got hurt, do you think we would have won the game?
Yes.
No.
This guy drinking the haterade.
I said yes.
I mean, I think if Sam Bradford didn't get hurt, I think they would have won the game.
Yeah.
That was one of those. It was just not meant to be games. Too much bad stuff going on. It was just not meant to be.
Yeah.
Not on that day. You play them 10 times, 9 times you're going to beat them. That was our one. That
first quarter, though.
No, Gale's so desperate he's taking it quarter by quarter now. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just weird because finally we played great in the first quarter, and then we laid an egg through the last 3. Previous weeks it's start slow, finish fast. The couple other weeks it's start fast and finish slow. I don't know. That's the game, dog.
All right. Well, you guys know where we all stand at this point. Those are some good questions. I like that little game. That was kind of fun. Got me thinking. So it's time for us to wrap up the Eagles talk. So, Mr. E-Rock, this is your time where you head on out.
Yeah, I'm being just like I jumped on the little boat rowing away from the Titanic. It's time for me to row away into the sunset and see you next week. But before I go, make sure you check me out on Twitter at the Mighty E-Rock, on Instagram at the Mighty E-Rock, Facebook.com/Eagles Tailgate Team. Also check PhillyInfluencer.com for those game day vids. There will be popping up game day vids pre-game, before kickoff even happens, so you at home, no matter where you are in the United States or across the globe, you can get a genuine feel for the vibe down at Lincoln Financial Field, and you can be right there tailgating with us. And then you're also going to get your post-game reaction where, everyone's been drinking, and it's raw, and it's uncut, and it's exactly what you want to hear from fans that are exiting Lincoln Financial Field. And also check out, if you haven't checked out that Dornbos for MVP video, I swear to God, if he gets cut and they replace him, I am going to cry. You're going to see a grown man cry. But if you have never seen that video, just YouTube Dornbos for MVP. I'm sure it's going to come up.
Oh, I'm going to check that out real quick. All right, well, thanks for joining. We'll see you next week.
All right, see you guys later.
Later.
All right, it's just us two now, Gail.
That was intense. That was.
I feel like I learned a lot about myself.
Was your soul cleansed after that?
What was that?
Was your Eagle soul cleansed after that combo?
gosh, it was a little rattled, a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it feels good to talk it out, just like your Eagles sessions. It's a little bit of a therapy just to kind of say stuff out loud and reconfirm my thoughts about the Eagles sometimes. Because it's easy to get caught off, taken off course and think the whole world is crashing down. But when it comes down to it, I still think this team can achieve what I think they can do it. But that's me.
You gotta believe. I mean, that's the part of you as an Eagle fan, and obviously we're diehard Eagles fans, and you gotta believe. I mean, we wouldn't be sitting here if we didn't believe. Talking to Eagles.
I'm still laughing at the lifeboat reference, but all right. Well, we'll transition to, we were talking about Chip Kelly, and one of his big moves this season was getting rid of Nick Foles, doing that trade and getting Bradford. And now at this point, Nick Foles has been benched for Case Keenum.
That's a big move. It's a big move to bench Nick Foles after they gave him, if they would have let Nick Foles play out, he would have got like $1.5 million. That would be cool. They gave him a new 3-year deal, $24 million or something like that. So when you sit a guy like that, it's obvious there's some reasons that, they don't believe in Nick Foles. So basically, they paid us about $13 million, and they gave us they're paying $13 million, and they got a second-round pick in return from us.
So looking at that, do you think the Eagles, we got the better end of that deal, that trade?
I think it's a wash right now. I mean, at least the reason that Sam Bradford isn't playing is because he's hurt. Nick Foles is perfectly healthy as can be.
Yeah.
And they have a dilemma next year. Do they cut Nick Foles, or you can't, if they cut him, they're going to have to, pay his salary of like $7 million. But they could free up $5 million in cap space. So, I mean, but they do have a second rounder. We have Sam Bradford. So it's a wash. It's a wash.
To me, them benching Foles tells me we won this round.
Okay.
I think it confirms that Foles wasn't going to be the guy to really be a consistent winner. I mean, we saw some great things, and I was on the Foles train. I really liked him, thought he had the potential, and maybe it's just he just doesn't fit there, and maybe he'd fit better in Philly, and maybe he would be doing better here with us. But yeah, I think.
I mean, he was averaging like 200 yards a game, like 6.5 yards per attempt, and a 75 QB rating. It was really bad. And I think, Jeff Fisher was like, Nick Foles just has to sit. That's what. So.
Well, Tacos 201-211 says, "Tell the dude with the awesome sweatshirt I said hi." You're the only dude with an awesome sweatshirt in here, so.
Well, hello.
Your boy Michael Bish is here.
Michael Bish, what's up? He was tailgating with us. So Eagle fans, if you,
what up?
Yeah, and he was all over NFL Network as well.
Was he?
He got his 30 seconds of fame. But yeah, Eagle fans come down to the tailgate.
Oh snaps!
Rock will show you what's
up. He says neither team won. So it's kind of a wash. So, all right. Let's see. Let's talk about how do you feel about Cam Newton? This whole deal going down. Kind of a flashy player, little showboater, does his little goofy celebrations. And now this week we had a mom write a letter to saying.
I actually wrote down a part of what she was saying. I'll read it right quick for you.
Oh, good.
this is just a couple paragraphs. She's like, because of where we sat, we had a close-up view of your conduct in the fourth quarter. The chest puffs, the pelvic thrusts, the arrogant struts, and in-your-face taunting of both the Titans players and fans. We saw it all. I refuse to believe you don't realize you are a role model. You're paid millions of dollars every week to play harder and be a leader. In the offseason, you're expected to make appearances, support charities, and inspire young kids to pursue your sport in all sports. With everything the NFL has gone through in recent years, I'm confident they have advised you that you are, by virtue of your position and career choice, a role model.
So
they were killing her on Twitter. If you, I think it's at Plorin. It's Plorin. Check that on Twitter for. I was just going through the feed and it's hilarious.
What are people saying?
Oh, just all types of stuff. Like, you got to see it for yourself. It's hilarious. I mean, they went at her, and it was funny. I saw some dude was like, I think Black Twitter is coming after you. It was all the mentions were nuts. You gotta read it.
Oh yeah, because I didn't have a chance to read the actual letter, so I'm glad you had that.
And that's even longer.
Oh, I bet.
It's like 7-8 paragraphs. She was talking about, her bringing her daughter, and her daughter was like asking questions about like, doesn't he know that he looks like a spoiled brat? Yeah. Blah blah blah. It was, it is what it is.
I'd like to get your thoughts on him, but first let me kind of explain my where I'm at with him and with his letter, and I guess the whole scope of this situation. But before I get into that, Jay Snipe says he read the story, it was kind of funny, but kind of get what she's saying as well. So for me, like after they played the Eagles, I noticed that this guy just annoys the hell out of me. Like I never noticed it before, but as soon as he was playing my team, as soon as I saw him making these goofy little faces and like doing these like, it was just obnoxious, right? And I don't usually have that reaction to any player. Like I see players do touchdown dances and they do their thing, it's fine, but I don't know why when he does it in a way where I just want to slap him in the face,
Ooh, Miss.
Like I was just like, if you watched my live stream for that game, I say it. I'm like, oh my god, I just want to, I'm like his freaking face. Like I was getting all annoyed, and you know me, I don't really get like that, and it's not like mean or like malicious or anything, but I got annoyed, and plus he's beating my team. I'm in a worse mood. Like it's harder for me to tolerate that. So
I mean, the whole Superman move is one thing, and then he starts doing the dance. But I usually don't
have a problem. So I don't know why. He does it in this unique way that is just super annoying, or I don't know. I don't get it. Like I'm like, why is it him? Why do I don't know. So that's kind of where I was at with him after the Eagles game. But this whole lady, now she annoys me too, because it's like, dude, really, you're gonna write this letter? Like, yeah, it's annoying, but it's not that bad. And it's like there's so many other players in the league doing a lot worse. How about you write them a letter? Like,
I mean, he does a lot of charity work. Like, mind you, like she, like, does she really know all the stuff that he's doing in the background? Probably not. She just sees this pelvic thrust. Oh my God. Aaron Rodgers does the kind of belt, the belt move with this, thrust. If you're going to talk about pelvic thrust, talk about the dude, I can't think of his name. The defensive end for the Denver Broncos. That's a pelvic thrust. If you're going to talk about pelvic thrust. I mean, I just think, first of all, let's get out of the bag. Cam Newton is one of my fantasy quarterbacks.
Oh, all right, all right.
But still, his first down dance annoys me. And then another thing a lot of people were saying on Twitter, if you don't like his dance or you don't like his celebration, don't let him score.
Yeah.
Case closed.
Yeah.
And obviously the guy that, after the guy that got in his face in the end zone, when he sacked Cam Newton, like earlier in the game, who was doing a dance after sacking Cam Newton? the same guy. And no one's saying that. Is she writing a letter to the guy that plays for the Titans that was doing the sack dance? Did she write a letter to him? No. Yeah. Her team, she was feeling a little butthurt. Her team got beat, and Cam Newton did his dance, and it was a little long. The celebration went a little long, but it is what it is. On my way to work, I was.
People are to get too offended by just these trivial things. It's like, yeah, I get annoyed by it, but I'm not like offended and like I need to do this dramatic thing because it's so bad. Like it reminds me, it's like all these protests going on in colleges, like these kids that want to be coddled and like, I am not in a safe space. It's like people gotta grow up sometime. And like as long as it's not something like really bad and it's it's playful, it really is. Yeah, it's annoying, but it's playful, then just let it be. So
I was on my way to work today, and I rarely listen to ESPN, but it was on, and they were talking about Cam Newton dancing. I'm like, it's Wednesday, and we're still talking about Cam Newton dancing.
Yeah,
and then it's just and then even Chris Carter went on to explain the situation, but then he explained it like the wrong dance name, and then Twitter was killing him on Twitter for that because he's so out of touch.
Up on Twitter, aren't you?
They're calling Chris Carter the out of touch dad, explaining the dance move that Cam Newton was doing. But it's like we're talking about a guy dancing, not talking about a guy fighting. We're talking about
Tacos 212, 2012-11 has a question for us. Would you rather have the Cowboys O-line or Cam Newton on your team?
I don't like anything Cowboys. So I'll take a little Cam Newton.
Oh, snaps. Well, we've already gotten some Cowboys player. May as well add a few more. I'll take the O-line.
Oh, that's just too many Cowboys right there.
Let's see. We'll do one more. Y'all remember Detmer's pelvic thrust?
Yes. Detmer had the Google his pelvic thrust. It's like the 6-shooter dance he does.
Oh,
like
I remember
he gives like the X, and then he's like, check that one out. That's one of the best ones.
Okay.
That is one of the.
I appreciate when people get creative and fun.
I think he does the slap too. He has a slap and a thrust.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we are running out of time here. Do you have any last thing you want to get in before we close out, or are you good, son?
I think I'm good. I think we got a lot off our chest.
Yeah, I was like, we only had time for a little bit because we kind of went off. So, well, thank you again, Mr. Gale. This is your number 2.
Yes. I will be back next week.
Soon to be number 3 next week, and hopefully we're in better spirits.
Definitely.
So let people know where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Eagle Sessions. It's one S. It's Eagle Sessions. If you want to talk about NFL and nerdy football stuff, at Gale E Saunders. That's GAYLE Saunders. And you can check me out on YouTube at Eagle Sessions.
Eagle Sessions. Well, there you have it, guys. And a reminder, we are here every Wednesday live streaming on my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/PhilaDehlia. But if you can't catch us live, you can always subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, all those good things. And I'm kind of new to this, so I appreciate people subscribing. I have no way of checking to see how many people subscribe on iTunes or Twitter, but once I figure that out, I'll let you know how we're doing. But until then, do it, rate, subscribe, give us some feedback, and tune in next week. So that's it. Gale and PhilaDehlia signing out. Peace.
Peace out.